Hi, I'm Rudy, founder of Nickel Hayden and a municipal advisor to Texas Public Schools. This is Texas School Finance with Rudy. Here's what nobody tells you. Most voters who walk into a school bond election know exactly one thing, the dollar amount on the ballot. They don't know what they're actually authorizing. They don't know who is legally allowed to campaign for it. They don't know what happens the moment it passes, and they almost certainly don't know what that ballot is legally required to say. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on how a school bond actually gets passed in Texas, from the boardroom all the way to the ballot box, because an informed vote is a better vote. And right now, Texas school districts are carrying $120 billion in property tax supported bond debt. That is a number that deserves more than a passing glance. I've spent 15 years advising school districts on bond programs. I've sat in the board meetings where these decisions get made. I've worked through the legal process, the market timing, the community outreach. At Nickel Hayden, we specialize in this. Right now, we are working on one of the largest school bond elections in the history of the state of Texas. And what I see consistently in districts large and small is a community that shows up to vote without understanding what they're actually deciding. So let's walk through it step by step. It starts with the school board. The board is responsible for identifying the district's capital needs: new facilities, renovations, technology, infrastructure, transportation, safety, and security upgrades. When those needs exceed what the M&O budget can handle, the board looks at bonds. The board works with its financial advisors, bond counsel, architects, and community stakeholders to develop a bond package. This process can take months, sometimes years, before a single voter ever sees a ballot proposition. When the board is ready to move forward, they call for a bond election. Texas law requires elections to be ordered at least 62 days before the election date. That order has to specify the purpose of the bonds. You cannot put a vague general authorization on a Texas ballot. Each major category of projects must be listed. The maximum principal amount must be stated. And here is something most voters don't know. Since 2019, Texas law requires every school bond proposition to include a specific statement on the ballot. This is a property tax increase. Every single bond required by law, the intent is to make sure voters understand the connection between a yes vote and their tax bill. Here's the part of this process that surprises most people. A school district cannot spend public funds to advocate for the passage of its own bond. The superintendent can hold community meetings and share factual information about the projects. The district can publish informational materials, but it cannot run an advocacy campaign with taxpayer money. It cannot tell voters to vote yes. That is where community organizations come in. Supporters form a PAC, raise private funds, and run a campaign. Opponents can do the same. The district stays officially neutral on advocacy. When election night arrives and a bond passes, the board is authorized to proceed with the bond issuance process. A typical timeline from election to first bond issuance is 3 to 6 months. In the May 2024 election cycle alone, Texas school districts sought voter approval for over $10 billion in bonds. Voters approved $7.65 billion, a 75% approval rate. That is the scale of what is happening in Texas bond elections every single cycle. Billions of dollars decided by communities that in most cases have never had the process explained to them this clearly. A yes vote on a school bond is not a donation. You are not giving money to the district. You are authorizing them to borrow money, money that your community's property taxpayers will repay over the next 20 to 30 years. You are co-signing a long-term debt obligation on behalf of your entire community. Know what the bond is for. Know what it will cost in total, principal plus interest. Know that the ballot is legally required to tell you this is a property tax increase. And know that the decision you make will affect your community's finances for a generation. That is not a reason to vote no. It is a reason to vote informed. If this episode helped you understand what you're actually deciding the next time you see a school bond on your ballot, share it. Follow me on LinkedIn for more of this every week. And if you represent a Texas public school district that is preparing for a bond election or thinking about one, come find us at nickelhayden.com. Bond election education and community engagement is one of our core specialties. We would love to talk. Episode 9 is next, and we're going to talk about something that happens after the bond passes that most people never think about. When should a district actually go to market? The timing of that decision is worth millions of dollars. See you there.